Hello YouTube, welcome back to another Microsoft Flight Sim news video. If you're new around here, be sure to like, comment and subscribe to stay up to date with the most important Microsoft Flight Sim news, aircraft releases and everything in between. In today's video, I'm going through some pretty exciting news with the Just Flight BAE 146, which is one of my favourite aircraft, and the Fly the MadDog X MD-80. Both of these aircraft are payware. As far as I know, the one that will be coming to Xbox is the Just Flight BAE 146. We haven't got any confirmation on the MD-80 or Fly the MadDog X as its official name. But some really exciting news nonetheless. Both of these aircraft looking increasingly close to release. Sadly, both of them are payware, no freeware aircraft in this video today. Without further delay, let's get right into it. So we'll start off with the Just Flight BAE 146, or the 146 Professional to be exact. They've released a development update. They released it on the 4th of March, so I'm a bit behind on this one. We've got plenty of screenshots, 11 in total, of this aircraft going through some sort of full flight. Initially, it starts off on the approach to Bournemouth Airport. Here you can see with the airport just to the north of the aircraft at this moment. It looks really good. Modelling's come on a long way since the last update, you can clearly see, and as you'll find out in a minute, they say that most systems, if not all systems, have been fully developed inside the cockpit. They're just adding the finishing touches onto it now. I mean, look into the cockpit, it looks much better than the X-Plane one, certainly higher fidelity. I cannot wait to see it. Here is the aircraft beginning its turn into Bournemouth Airport. You can see you've got Poole Harbour in the distance over there, and they like to point out that the light's reflecting on the overhead panel. I think it looks pretty nice. You know, it's not the most highly detailed aircraft, but it's certainly up there, at least so far. Before we look at one of the final approach shots, here's a look at the engines, obviously closer to a passenger view. Notice the motorway down there on the ground as you descend down into Bournemouth Airport. I would say that it looks a bit pixelated in areas. You know, it could certainly be improved on the engine. Looking around those rivets, it does look a bit blurry, but I'm sure that's one of the last things they'll be doing in terms of adding proper PBR textures. That's what most development teams do anyway, leave it to the last few days before this aircraft is released to add small improvements here and there. We don't learn too much from the screenshot here of the aircraft coming in onto the runway now, but this one shows us a lot more. You can see we've got the famous clamshell speed brake right at the back. It looks very beautiful. I love this aircraft. I'm quite sad I never got to fly on one, but who knows, I might be lucky in the future, but I doubt it, seeing as there's like only double digits of these aircraft now flying, and that's all over the world. None in the UK unless someone's got a freighter. Here's a shot of the aircraft landed at Bournemouth with the GPU ground power unit at the front there. The air stairs extended, of course, is inbuilt for this tiny little aircraft. And the chocks also put on the wheels. It looks fantastic, and it also says a lot about this aircraft, how far they're willing to go with detail. I did have it for X-Plane, and I was very impressed, although I find Microsoft Flight Sim to be a bit more enjoyable, so I don't find myself on X-Plane all too often. Then, following on with a photographic journey, we get the aircraft taxiing back out to the runway for a takeoff. Sadly, no video footage, but I'm going to leave you with this one of the aircraft banking, I'm presuming after takeoff because the landing lights are still on. This one might have made the thumbnail because it does look pretty nice. I'm very excited for this aircraft. It seems to have progressed on really well, especially from the last few weeks. They say it flies just like the real aircraft, and we should keep our eyes out for more previews of the 146, including other variants and liveries. It tells us not only about the actual aircraft, but also what systems are working in each individual photo. There are actually 3 parts to the development update in this kind of update as a whole, but I've only showed you part 3, so do check out their website if you want to see a few more screenshots, but I don't want to keep you guys focused on one aircraft for too long, as beautiful as it is. Moving over to the Fly the MadDog X, also known as the MD-80 because it is an MD-80, but of course for licensing reasons they can't exactly call it that. They've released a big forum post kind of going into a lot of stuff. First of all, they release information about the pricing model. Their idea so far is to release a basic package covering most of the needs of the advanced simmer, and then offering expansion packs. It's a common method used by flight sim developers. Now, we don't get any exact pricing information, but it's nice to see that hopefully if they pull this off well and don't charge too much for a basic package, then it should open up a potentially study level aircraft up to the masses. You'll also be able to buy time dedicated expansion packs, but there's no roadmap here yet. We do get some information about what the first version of the Fly the MadDog X for Microsoft Flight Sim will include, and it's all the stuff you'd expect, you know, a fully integrated FMS, a flight model and engine performances, tested and matched against the real world aircraft, all systems and avionics fully implemented, as well as a certain amount of liveries. Of course, it does open it up to expansion with the expansion packs as well, which may include stuff like different engine options or different variants. The aircraft has entered beta on Microsoft Flight Sim. I think I said that in a previous video. It's now in quite good stages in beta, it would seem. Just from some of the screenshots, it does look really awesome. The forum does pixelate them quite a bit, but we're getting a good variety of screenshots from approach to takeoff, from sitting on the ground. It's certainly very exciting stuff. And hopefully it won't be too long before we get this aircraft, but as you know, Fly the MadDog X, they've produced some really good aircraft in the past. Leonardo, who's the actual kind of overarching team, they are renowned for high quality product. And if you had the MadDog on FSX, you'll be able to follow that up, I'm sure. One thing I would say is that there won't be any weather radar when the aircraft is first released. That's just because basically Microsoft Flight Sim doesn't allow for it yet. But as soon as the SDK does, that'll be brought over free of charge. It's things like that where they're thinking about issues like that shows to me that this aircraft could be coming pretty soon, because they're obviously forward planning with stuff like that. I can't remember off the top of my head if Asobo have said that they're going to fix this by a certain sim update, but I imagine it's a fix we'll certainly be seeing within a year. So if they're already planning for a feature not to be available, then they should have a pretty good idea of when they're aiming to get this aircraft out, if you're following on from what I'm saying. Basically, they know what they're not going to be able to do within a certain time frame, so they must have already established some sort of time frame. That's pretty hopeful to me anyway, although it's not the best if you wanted a weather radar. What do you guys think? Leave your thoughts down below. I hope you've enjoyed this Microsoft Flight Sim news video. If you have, be sure to like, comment and subscribe. It really does help me out. And why don't you check out my last video where I took a look at the Tobii Eye Tracker 5 for Microsoft Flight Sim, which I've used to film some of the interesting F-35 footage you've seen in the background of this video. For me today, that is all. Thank you so much for watching, and to my first class channel members, they get a shout out on the screen now, but from me today, that is all. I'll see you around. Bye bye.